All right, so you're looking into getting into some 124 scale off-roading.
Okay.
Sounds fun, right?
Yeah, sounds like a blast.
And you've heard about these two trucks, the Axial SCX24
Hmm.
and the FMS FCX24M.
Yeah, those are both really popular.
Yeah, they're super popular, and for good reason.
Yeah.
124 scale, that means they're tiny.
Yeah, like 124th the size of a real truck.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Perfect for, whipping around the house.
Yeah, or even taking them out on a real trail, and making a little miniature trail.
Right. Build a little obstacle course.
Exactly.
So for this deep dive,
Okay.
we've got a YouTube video review from this guy, 2FMRC.
All right, cool.
And he takes both of these trucks out,
Mm-hmm.
head to head, put them through their paces,
Nice.
compares everything.
Cool.
So we're going to be diving into the video,
Okay.
pulling out some audio highlights,
All right.
getting into the nitty-gritty.
Love it.
Obviously, the video is super visual,
All right.
but we're going to try to make it make sense for audio only.
Cool. I'm excited.
So right off the bat,
Yeah.
you see a huge visual difference between these two trucks.
Okay.
The FMS FCX24M looks incredible.
Yeah, it's tricked out right out of the box.
It's got all the details.
All the little details, the molded trim.
Yeah.
You got the mirrors with reflections.
Wow.
Full interior.
No way.
Even a roof rack with accessories.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a little mini model car,
Right.
but it's a fully functioning RC truck.
I mean, you could almost put it on your desk.
Yeah, almost.
So visually, the FMS is killing it.
Right.
But here's the thing.
What's that?
Despite looking, less detailed,
Yeah.
initially on certain terrain, the Axial SCX24 actually performs better.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not all about looks.
No, it's not.
Performance matters too?
And, this is probably due to the fact that the Axial has a Lexan body.
Right, which is going to be much lighter
Right.
than the FMS's die-cast metal body.
Yeah, and that die cast is going to weigh it down.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of this classic dilemma, right?
Totally.
Looks versus performance.
Yeah. You got to choose your poison. I mean, maybe not, though.
Well, true. There's a lot more to consider
Right.
than just those two things.
Exactly.
We got electronics, we got control.
Yeah. Speaking of control, the reviewers seem to really like the FMS transmitter.
Okay, yeah. Seems really nice.
One-handed operation,
Cool.
a channel 3 switch for 2-speed control,
Oh, very nice.
which is awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool feature.
Yeah, he even says he prefers it to the Axial's transmitter.
Interesting.
But, one thing the Axial has going for it
What's that?
is that aftermarket support.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
Huge.
Especially if you're into customizing and upgrading your RCs.
Right, so the FMS might be great out of the box,
Mm-hmm.
but the Axial with the right tweaks
Could be a real monster.
could be a monster, yeah.
A performance beast.
Okay, let's get into some of the specifics here.
All right, let's do it.
How did these trucks handle the slow crawl challenge?
Okay, so this is where we start to see some of the limitations of the Axial.
Especially when we start adding weight.
Okay.
The reviewer noticed some stuttering and jumpiness in the crawling performance, when it was loaded down with extra weight.
I can imagine that being pretty frustrating out on the trail.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to do some really technical crawling.
Right.
You need that smooth control.
So what about the FMS?
The FMS, on the other hand, was super smooth.
Okay.
Much more controlled crawl, even with the added weight of all the detailed accessories.
Oh,
So it's not just about the overall weight.
All
It's
right.
about how that weight is distributed.
right.
And the FMS distributes its weight really well.
Okay.
Plus, the electronics and the servo are up to the task.
Right. So it's like having a solid foundation makes you more stable, even if you're carrying more.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And that brings us to another interesting thing.
Okay.
You might assume that the Axial
Yeah.
would be more flexible.
Right. Lighter, more adaptable.
It just seems logical.
Right.
But the FMS, with that hard body, it actually outperformed the Axial when it comes to articulation.
So the less flexible truck is actually more adaptable.
It seems counterintuitive,
Totally.
but the reviewer attributes this to the FMS's shock travel and design,
Interesting.
which allow for better articulation despite that higher center of gravity.
Huh. So looks can be deceiving.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good lesson for life in general.
Right.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
So the FMS is more adaptable on the trail.
Yep.
How does that actually, translate to performance when it's out there?
So that superior flex really helped the FMS keep its tires on the ground
Okay.
on uneven terrain.
Okay.
It just had better grip and control.
So it could handle those obstacles better.
Much better. Yeah.
Okay, so design choices have real-world implications.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It can make or break your off-road experience.
And that's what we're all about here on the deep dive.
Right. Understanding the why behind the what.
Yeah. You got to know why things work the way they do.
Exactly.
So let's get into some more of these tests. Side hill and incline.
All right. Let's see how they did.
Now, this is where things get really interesting.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
In the side hill test, driving across a steep slope,
Yeah.
both trucks performed remarkably similarly.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, given the FMS's higher center of gravity?
Right. You'd think it would just tip right over.
Exactly.
But it held its own.
Wow.
And the FMS even edged out the axial slightly.
That's surprising.
So it seems like weight distribution
Yeah.
can be more important than overall weight.
In certain scenarios,
For sure.
a lower center of gravity, even in a heavier vehicle,
Right.
can provide stability.
Yeah, physics is wild.
It really is.
It's everywhere.
You can't escape it.
Not even in the world of RC.
Nope.
Okay, but what about just straight up climbing?
The incline test.
Yeah, did the axial's lighter weight give it an advantage there?
It definitely did.
Right.
On the incline test, the axial just smoked the FMS.
So when it comes to straight uphill,
Yeah.
lighter weight still wins.
It seems that way.
So we're seeing this trade-off, right?
Totally.
FMS excels in slow crawling,
Yep.
articulation, even side hilling.
A versatile little truck.
But then straight uphill, Axial's lightweight design takes the win.
So different tools for different jobs.
Yeah, and I think that's a good takeaway.
Absolutely.
It's not about which truck is quote-unquote better.
Right.
It's about what are your priorities.
What are you going to be using it for?
Exactly.
What kind of terrain are you going to be driving on?
Yeah. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about speed.
All right.
So the Axial is generally faster in its stock configuration,
Right.
but the FMS has a little trick up its sleeve,
Oh, what's that?
the two-speed transmission.
Ah, yes, the two-speed.
How much of a difference does that actually make?
It's a game changer.
Okay.
Especially if you want a truck that can do it all.
Okay.
That high gear on the FMS lets it power through obstacles
wait.
that the Axial might just spin its tires on. But there is a catch.
Okay, what's the catch?
Sometimes it's hard to get into that high gear when you're on an incline.
Why is that?
It's because it lacks a drag brake.
Drag brake. Now, for our listeners who might not be familiar,
Sure.
what is a drag brake?
So basically, it's a feature that provides braking force even when you're not hitting the brakes.
Okay.
So when you let off the throttle, it still slows you down,
Okay.
which is really useful for going downhill
Right.
or for holding your position on a hill.
Okay.
And without it, the FMS can struggle to engage that high gear when it's trying to go uphill.
So it's not just about having the gears.
Right.
It's about using them effectively.
Exactly.
Now, the reviewer also mentioned the FMS FCX24,
Yeah, the predecessor.
the predecessor to the FCX24M.
Right.
So how do they compare?
Well, the big difference is that two-speed transmission.
Okay.
In the FCX24M, they've made it smaller and more integrated,
Okay.
which probably contributes to its improved performance.
So they're constantly iterating,
Yeah, they're always trying to improve.
making things better.
That's what's cool about RC.
Right. You can see the evolution.
It's like technology in action.
Yeah. All right. So we've covered a lot.
We have.
But at the end of the day, it all comes down to how these trucks perform on the trail.
That's what matters.
What were the reviewer's overall impressions?
He loved the FMS FCX24M.
Okay.
He called it a game changer
Yeah.
for its out-of-the-box performance, all the detail, and just the overall value.
High praise.
He even said it's the best ready-to-run 124 scale trail truck he's ever driven.
Wow.
But he also acknowledged that the Axial SCX24,
Right.
it's got a special place in the RC world,
Yeah.
especially for the tinkerers,
The modders.
the people who want to customize.
Yeah.
It's got that massive aftermarket support and
Right.
that modular design.
So you can really make it your own.
You can build your dream crawler.
So we've got a winner for both the casual trail runner
Yeah,
and the hardcore RC builder.
exactly.
But I'm curious,
Oh, what?
the reviewer mentions letting his dad drive,
Oh, yeah.
who is not an RC enthusiast.
Right.
What was the takeaway there?
Well, his dad could immediately tell the difference between the two trucks.
Wow.
He could feel how much smoother and more controlled the FMS was.
So even someone with no experience
Yeah,
could feel the difference.
exactly. That's wild.
It really speaks to how user-friendly the FMS is.
So maybe the FMS is a great gateway into the hobby
Possibly.
for newcomers.
Yeah.
And the Axial,
Is for the people who are ready to get their hands dirty.
yeah, who want to really go deep.
Right.
But this kind of raises a bigger question.
What's that?
As these trucks get more sophisticated, more user-friendly,
Yeah.
could RC crawling become more mainstream?
That's an interesting question.
What do you think?
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine families
Yeah.
going out to the trails together.
Everyone with their own little rig.
Yeah, exploring nature, having some fun.
That'd be awesome.
It would be really cool. So maybe this deep dive has sparked a new passion in you.
Our listener.
Our listener.
Yeah.
Maybe you're already browsing online,
Looking at all the different trucks.
checking out the latest 124 scale offerings.
Or dusting off that old RC truck in the garage.
Yeah, whatever your journey is.
Yeah.
We're here to support you.
Absolutely.
So embrace that curiosity.
Experiment.
Have fun.
That's what it's all about.
The world of RC is your playground.
Go explore. It's all about finding that right truck for you.
Right. Finding the truck that fits your needs,
Exactly.
your style.
Your budget.
Yeah. And ultimately, it comes down to what you're going to be doing with it.
For sure.
So, we've talked about a lot of things.
We have.
But let's go back to what the reviewer ultimately thought
Okay.
about these two trucks.
So what was his final verdict?
He was super impressed with the FMS.
Yeah. I mean, he loved that truck.
But he also said that, the Axial,
Right.
it's still a really solid choice.
Especially if you like to tinker.
Yeah, you like to get in there and customize things.
Exactly.
And that's what's really cool about this hobby.
What's that?
There's something for everyone.
Yeah, you're right.
Whether you want to just drive it right out of the box, or you want to spend hours, fine-tuning every little detail.
You can really get lost in it.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
Totally.
But a fun one.
A very fun rabbit hole.
But there's another aspect to this that we haven't really touched on yet.
What's that?
The community.
Ah, yes, the RC community.
RC is more than just, a solitary hobby.
Right. It's about connecting with other people.
Yeah. Sharing your passion.
Learning from each other.
And, we want to build that here
Yeah.
at the Deep Dive.
With our listeners.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
What stood out to you the most?
About these trucks.
What are your priorities?
What are you looking for in an RC truck?
Yeah, let's have a discussion.
Let's keep the conversation going.
So we've focused a lot on the specifics.
Mm-hmm.
The features, the performance.
The nitty-gritty.
Yeah, but let's take a step back.
Okay.
And think about the bigger picture.
All right.
What are the implications?
Of all this.
Yeah, of what we've talked about.
Okay.
For RC design and technology.
So like the future of RC.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, I'm ready.
So we saw that you can have a hard body
Right.
that looks amazing
Yeah.
and still have great performance.
The FMS proved that.
Yeah. Does this mean that we're going to see more hard body trucks
Interesting.
dominating the crawling scene?
It's possible.
And what are the downsides of that?
That's a good question.
And what about the electronics?
Yeah, they're getting so sophisticated.
Did this bring in more people?
A wider audience?
Make RC crawling even more popular?
Yeah, what if it's not just a niche hobby anymore?
That would be pretty cool.
I think it would be.
Imagine all these new people discovering the joy of RC.
It's a really fun hobby.
It is. And it's a great way to get outside.
Yeah.
Get some fresh air.
Connect with nature.
So, yeah, I think it's definitely possible.
I think so, too.
That RC crawling could become more mainstream.
And you know what else?
Well,
it's not just about the technology.
Right.
It's about the experience.
Yeah, the joy of exploration.
The satisfaction of mastering a skill.
The community.
Exactly.
So whether you're brand new or you've been doing this for years,
it doesn't matter.
There's always something new to discover.
Always a new challenge.
And that's what keeps it exciting.
Exactly.
So for you, our listener,
the
journey starts now.
It does.
Whether you're drawn to the FMS or the Axial,
there's an adventure out there waiting for you.
So go explore.
Damn it.
Have fun.
The world of RC is your oyster.
It's funny because we get so caught up in, the specs and the performance.
Oh, yeah.
And we forget that these things are toys.
They are.
They're meant to be fun.
Absolutely.
And I think you see that in this video.
Oh, yeah.
Like the reviewer is clearly having a blast.
He's genuinely enthusiastic.
And it makes you want to go out and drive.
It's contagious.
Yeah, it is contagious for sure.
It reminds you that this is a hobby that people are passionate about.
Yeah, it's more than just, buying something and driving it around.
It's a whole community.
Yeah, it's a way of life for some people.
Absolutely.
It's cool to see that.
It is.
And I think that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
What do you mean?
Like, even though we're just listening to audio.
Right.
You can still feel that energy.
Yeah, the reviewer's passion really comes through.
Yeah, and it makes you feel like you're right there with him.
It's like good storytelling.
It is.
You're drawn into the narrative.
And he does a good job of conveying Not just the technical details,
Mm-hmm.
but also the emotion,
The feelings.
the excitement.
Yeah, the joy of it all.
He's basically saying, hey, I love this,
Right.
and I want you to love it too.
And I think that's a really powerful message.
It is.
It's a reminder that RC is for everyone.
It doesn't matter how old you are
Or how much experience you have.
if you're interested in it.
Give it a try.
That's what we're all about here at the Deep Dive.
Absolutely.
Making RC accessible, fun for everyone.
So if you're listening...
And you've never tried RC crawling before?
What are you waiting for?
Go for it.
You might be surprised at how much you enjoy it.
Don't be intimidated.
There's a ton of resources out there.
And the community is super helpful.
Yeah, everyone's really welcoming.
They want to see the hobby grow.
And even if you're a seasoned veteran, there's always something new to learn.
Always a new challenge.
And that's what keeps it fresh.
It's exciting.
So we hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective.
On 124 scale off-roading.
We've explored the performance,
The design.
the community,
And the pure joy
of this awesome hobby.
So now it's your turn. Go out there, explore, experiment, and most importantly,
Have fun.
until next time.
Happy crawling.